Melamine analysis is becoming a necessity in the food industry in order to verify the quantity and authenticity of protein. In September 2008, several Chinese companies were implicated in a scandal involving milk and infant formula which had been adulterated with melamine, leading to kidney stones and other renal failure, especially among young children. By September, nearly 53,000 people had become ill, with more than 12,800 hospitalizations and 4 infant deaths. Officials estimate that 20% of the dairy companies tested in China sell products tainted with melamine. China has a wide range of export food products, and the scandal affected countries on all continents.
And now for an update on China's poisonous milk scandal. The poisons in some milk might not just be from pure melamine, but actually from melamine scrap that has other chemicals in it. Melamine is a nitrogen-rich chemical. It is normally used for processing products like plastic, glue, textiles, flame-retarding agents, and rubber antioxidants. It does not have any nutritional value, but it can be added to milk or animal feed to make it look like it has more protein when tested. By itself, however, melamine is not toxic in low doses, so it's still not clear how the tainted milk has caused kidney stones and kidney failure to thousands of babies. But melamine scrap, which is a leftover byproduct of processing coal into melamine, may contain more than just melamine itself. Because of the way it's processed, it can also have residue from toxic chemicals like urea, ammonia, acetic acid, and sodium nitrate in it. And this may be why it's been so toxic for so many children.
Lian Haijiao is one of millions of worried parents in mainland China whose children fell victim to the tainted milk scare. The condition of some children is getting worse.
We still don't know what specific damage melamine causes to children or adults.
Another worried parent, Donglin Liu, says his 2-year-old son is weak and easily catches cold now. His child also has swollen lymph nodes on both sides.
I've done some research. Most of the children who have been drinking Sanlu milk powder for about 1 year all have this disease.
Da Bao Yang is 16 months old now. When scary facts were revealed about the Sanlu milk powder, he switched to milk powder manufactured by Zhou Meizi and Mei Zanqiang. By the end of May, he developed hematuria. His father, Wei Fengyang, took him to the hospital for a checkup.
He has a mild renal capsule of water and a cyst. They said the milk powder caused no problems, so we didn't check it out. Later we found he had hematuria, so we went for a checkup. We found that his kidney stone had grown larger.
2-year-old Xin Yang recently had an operation to remove kidney stones, but after a while, more kidney stones started appearing. Father Yong Yang blames melamine-tainted milk powder.
It's probably very hard for the kidney stones to be cleared out. It requires long-term treatment. We have to pay all the costs ourselves. We have already spent 50,000 to 60,000 yuan. We have no government assistance.
Earlier this year, parents of the sick children asked China's Ministry of Health to conduct research about the poisonous effect of melamine and publicize the results. But till now, there's been no response. The parents are now calling for sympathizers to lend whatever assistance they can.
And continuing coverage of the milk crisis in the mainland. More babies are getting sick from tainted Chinese milk powder, and as the confirmed number of sick rises, some details of the scandal suggest that communist officials may have known about the tainted milk over a month before they notified the public. Here's more.
Chinese officials have said that roughly 53,000 children have been affected by drinking tainted baby formula. Over 100 are said to be in critical condition, and to date there have been 4 confirmed deaths. The poisonous powdered milk was produced by Sanlu Group, one of China's largest dairy producers. The formula was made toxic by the addition of melamine, a substance used in various plastics and flame-retardant materials. Ingestion of melamine has shown to cause the formation of kidney stones and, in some cases, acute kidney failure.
It is much scarier with young infants because their urinary tracts are very narrow, so they are easily blocked. And once they are blocked, that leads to acute kidney failure.
The Associated Press reports that Sanlu Group had notified some of its distributors as early as July that some of its milk was tainted and should be pulled from the shelves. There is evidence suggesting that Chinese officials were informed at about the same time, but the contamination was not made public until September 11, over a month later, and that raises questions of negligence and possibly a cover-up. According to AP, there are retailers with warehouses full of tainted Sanlu milk who have been unable to get refunds from the company. So far, only a small handful of countries, including Indonesia, Bangladesh, and Malaysia, have barred dairy imports from China, but that may change. With lead in toys, toxic cough syrup, melamine-laced pet food, and now melamine-tainted milk powder, questions about China's ability to regulate the safety of its exports loom large.
Dairy experts in China say the quality of domestic milk is the lowest in the world. Compared to international standards, Chinese milk is lower in protein and contains more bacteria. Officials at China's dairy associations blame the low quality on dairy giants and the government. They say the new lower standards set last year went against academic advice. China's 2010 standards reduced the amount of protein required in milk. It's now 7% lower than the minimum in Western countries. On top of that, China's standards allow 20 times more bacteria per litre of milk than would be allowed in Europe or the United States. A high bacteria count means it could potentially make people sick. The director of the Guangdong Provincial Dairy Association called the standards, quote, a shame on the whole industry. China Business News reported last Friday. Wang Dingmian says the low standards were drafted not by health experts, but by two Chinese dairy giants. Dairy companies want lower standards because their branches sometimes aren't able to meet higher standards, usually because of the costs involved. Wang also blames big dairy companies for paying too little to local milk producers. With a low profit margin, there's not much incentive for dairy farmers to improve quality. China's dairy industry has struggled to recover after the 2008 melamine milk scandal. More consumers are choosing imported products over domestic milk because of concerns over safety and quality.
Can you tell me briefly what are the main challenges for Chinese milk producers nowadays?
Yeah, first is people. In Chinese dairy farms, they lack of the high skillful people, and the people management they should to be improved, and some young generations working on the farm maybe just 1 year or 2 years, and they will quit the job because they think that they have no future on the dairy farm. So lack of people with skill, that's a challenge. This is one challenge, and another is feed. On Chinese dairy farm, they lack of high quality feed and silage, and maybe some large dairy farms, not of large dairy farms in China, they import alfalfa or some other hays from U.S., maybe Australia, some because in China they can't grow the quality feed. The manure is another big challenge, especially for the large-scale farms. Lots of manure they can't handle it because the land in China, especially for dairy farms, is so limited. If you rent from the government, the price is very, very high. So how to handle the manure is a very huge challenge. In south of China, the heat stress is another big problem and a big challenge, you know. So dairy farms these years try many ways to handle it, but at present it's also a big problem to face. So maybe we will discuss with foreign experts, maybe to learn some experience from US, maybe some Arab countries like Israel, to learn the experience. But still need to be improved.
And what about biosecurity?
Biosecurity, yeah. biosecurity, I think that's a new definition to Chinese dairyman, you know. And yes, it's another perspective for them to improve, especially for the animals and for the people, and also the animal welfare and the people who working on the dairy farm. They need to be taken care of. So dairy owners maybe should pay much attention to this, animals and the people.
Today's top story, we have an update on the Sanlu powdered milk scandal in China. Today, a court in mainland China sentenced 2 men to death for their role in the production and sale of melamine-tainted milk. One of the men was a manufacturer who sold more than 600 tons of toxic melamine powder. The other was a middleman who added the powder to watered-down milk at collection stations. The former head of Sanlu Group got life in prison and a fine. Many Chinese wanted the head to face the ultimate punishment. Claims of official concealment and indifference have turned the milk powder case into a serious political issue for the Chinese Communist Party. Tainted milk killed at least 6 children and made nearly 300,000 ill.